Hi, I'm Juan Williams, in for Bill O'Reilly tonight. Thanks for watching us on this Good Friday and Passover. Let's get right to our top story. President Obama is stepping up his attacks on Mitt Romney. His campaign released a new web video saying the GOP frontrunner is out of touch with reality. We'll show it to you in just a minute. But first, a new Gallup poll says the president is doing well with independent women voters in the 12 key swing states. 51% of independent female voters in those states say they would vote for Obama. Only 37% for Mitt Romney. That's a 14-point gap. That's huge. In December, the same poll showed Romney leading Obama in independent women voters, 48 to 43. The president continues to make his case as a warrior for women. Earlier today, this is what he said.
When people say we should get rid of Planned Parenthood, they're not just talking about restricting a woman's ability to make her own health decisions. They're talking about denying, as a practical matter, the preventive care, like mammograms, that millions of women rely on.
As the poll indicates, that kind of message seems to be resonating with women, particularly young independent women. Conservatives like to point out that since the president took office, the unemployment rate for women has increased from 7% to 8.1%, begging the question, are women really prospering under Obama's leadership? Joining us now from Los Angeles to analyze, radio talk show host Tammy Bruce, and with us in studio, former president of the Women's Media Center, Jamu Green. Both are Fox News contributors. Jamu Green, let me say, what strikes me about this is, if you look at it right now, President Obama has a hugely 31 percentage points among women under 50. Young women, clearly, they're like running towards Obama at the moment, and largely over this contraception issue. But Jamu, who is denying access to contraception to anybody? Isn't this a phony? Isn't this you couldn't make anything up better than the Democrats have done to try to fool women.
Well, they are running towards Obama, and in the same way they are fleeing the GOP. The war on women, I will admit, that is a message that Democrats have created and have been pushing. I've said it many times, but it is an oversimplification, which is one of the things President Obama said.
I'm just so glad you're telling the truth.
Today.
This is the no spin zone, and you get points for telling the truth. This is a made-up, phony war on women.
The message, but that message is made up by the 1,100 bills in 2011 across the nation, state by state by state, 1,100 bills that went after women's reproductive rights, by the sexism that we've seen that Rush Limbaugh got involved in, by the Health Care Act opponents who don't understand that women really appreciate the fact that they're no longer going to be able to be charged 150% more just because they had a C-section or they've been the victim of domestic violence. Being a woman shouldn't be a pre-existing condition. So as this healthcare debate has gotten more into the details, that's why another reason they're fleeing the GOP.
Tammy Bruce, let me ask you about this, because I think women do have access to contraception. Now, here's the argument. The argument would be you have a blunt amendment in the Senate, Republicans saying anybody, not just the Catholic Church, has a right to remove contraception from their health care coverage. You have a governor in Virginia, Bob O'Donnell, who's talking about women having very intrusive procedures in order to determine whether or not they should have an abortion. Is that a good reason for women to have some fears about Republicans this time of year?
Here's what the women should have a fear about, which is government involvement in our lives. The conservative ideal is what's going to matter and does matter to women, which is that we have enough financial independence and freedom to make these choices for ourselves. Right now, the argument is, and all the problems are, these strangers, these bureaucrats, and yeah, Obama's a stranger trying to make these decisions for us. What Romney's going to need to do is make it clear that you've got two choices. Are women going to be treated like they're wards of the state and that the government's going to make decisions for them? You know, $10 a month for contraception. I mean, give me a break. Are women going to be sold for that amount of money? Or the conservative message, which is that women are smart, they can be independent, they should be independent, and that we need financial independence brought with a good economy and having a job. That is the conservative ideal. And also, this is, you know, the secret weapon that Romney has is Ann Romney. You know, the Obamas are like the in-laws, who when they want something from you, they're nice to you. And once they get it, they return to treating you horribly and then spending all your money.
Hold on. But Tammy, a minute ago, I think that you have the attitude, tell me if I'm wrong, that they're trying to convince women to ignore the economic message, that women should be preoccupied with their reproductive rights, with their uterus,
Well,
but
these are
not with the
distractions.
bottom line for their families.
Look,
Aren't you talking
Jamu
down
and I
to
both
women?
know.
You're talking down to
No,
women.
both Jamu and I know that for both the left and the right, to distract women with reproductive rights has been going on for decades. We now are past that. It's the 21st century. This is a message that Romney's going to have to move through with the Republicans, that women are to be respected, that we want freedom and independence, and I think that's the message that's
It
going to
might be too
resonate
late.
with women across
Let
the
me add,
board.
Jamu, is it too late? I mean, you know what? I think Tammy's onto something. There's an important economic message. But if the women believe that Romney and the Republicans want to push them back in the dark ages, who's going to listen to the economic
Which
message?
they don't believe.
Well, you cannot say that it's Democrats who have been using reproductive messages as a distraction, especially when these bills across the country have been introduced by Republicans. Democrats cannot win without the women vote, in the same way that Republicans can't win unless they get a large part of the Latino vote.
This whole election, it comes down to independent women. I always say it's an independent woman who lives in the suburbs of Columbus, Ohio. And on that note, let me just show you an ad that the Obama team is now running on the web, responding to some of the charges made by Mitt Romney as he tries to win women back.
He went around the world and apologized for America.
We will not apologize for our way of life.
He's also failed to communicate that military options are on the table.
I will not hesitate to use force when it is necessary to defend the United States and its interests.
In his State of the Union address, he didn't even mention the debt or the deficits.
When it comes to the deficit, we've already agreed to more than $2 trillion in cuts and savings. Debt, the deficit. Deficit, 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 debt. That's how we'll reduce our deficit.
Now, Jamu, effective?
Well.
Quickly.
It is effective, and it's not just reproductive issues. At the end of the day, if you've been in a relationship, any man knows women have a unique ability, a sixth sense to see through BS. And what that message that Romney puts out there,
Yeah, we do.
switching
All right.
on different issues.
Tammy, I'm going to
it's
give
a
you the
trust
last
issue
word
as
here.
well.
Tammy, was that ad effective?
What Obama says and what he does are two different things, and we do see through the BS, and this is going to be part of the fight in November. Yeah, Obama's got a woman problem. He's had it from the beginning. You can ask Hillary Clinton about that.
Wow.